Hey there, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we're putting on our historian hats to dig into something wild, the deeply sacred 7,000-year-old origins of what is honestly a super misunderstood modern habit. Just think about this for a sec. Way before mass-produced cigarettes, before commercial tobacco, and literally millennia before a lighter was even a twinkle in someone's eye, ancient humans were already smoking. And they didn't just stumble upon it recently either. They'd been doing it for over 7,000 years. But what exactly were they puffing on? And more importantly, why? Well, the answer is way stranger than you might think, and it actually reveals something absolutely fascinating about basically every major civilization to ever walk the earth. Let's get into it.
Right off the bat, let's contrast how we look at things today versus back then. Today, we see smoking mostly as a casual recreational habit, right? Like a quick smoke break. But for ancient civilizations, it was the exact opposite. We're talking profound spiritual rituals. It was deeply intertwined with their religion. It definitely wasn't something you just did to pass the time. It was an act of immense, undeniable cultural and spiritual weight.
So here's our expedition itinerary for today. We're going to start by unearthing the very first smoke, check out the incense of the ancients, look at some Scythian golden bongs. Yes, you heard that right. Explore the sacred peace pipe, and finally tie it all together with the universal divine connection. It's a journey from the peaks of the Andes all the way to the Eurasian steppes.
And this whole phenomenon builds across a massive 7,000-year chronological map. We're kicking things off way back in 5000 BC in the Andes Mountains, then jumping ahead to 2000 BC in the epic temples of Egypt and Babylon, and finally landing around 500 BC in the wild terrain of Central Asia. It is, quite literally, a global story playing out over millennia.
All right, Section 1, Unearthing the First Smoke. Let's travel back to 5000 BC, high up in the Andes Mountains. So, archaeologists digging in South America stumbled upon our first major artifact, these incredibly ancient stone pipes, and inside, distinct traces of burnt plant material. This right here is the absolute oldest evidence of smoking we've ever found on record. But, and this is absolutely crucial to remember, this wasn't for fun. These pipes were strictly used by shamans, the spiritual leaders of their communities. They genuinely believed that by inhaling this smoke, they were opening a direct two-way communication line to the spirit world. Picture this, you're standing in the Andes thousands of years ago, and these shamans see the smoke physically rising upward from their pipes, acting as a literal, visual signal reaching up to the gods. Like I said, not a habit, a religion.
Which brings us right to our next era, incense of the ancients. Time to check out the massive, sprawling temples of Egypt and Babylon.
Now here's where things shift a bit. In these monumental temples, the priests actually utilized smoke quite differently. They weren't inhaling it themselves. Instead, they were burning these incredibly valuable aromatic herbs, stuff like mint, thyme, and frankincense. And they burned them purely as divine offerings. The logic here is actually super beautiful in its simplicity. Smoke naturally travels upward, right, toward the heavens. So by burning something rare and expensive, you are basically sending a tangible, fragrant message straight up to the divine. And honestly, the most mind-blowing part? This specific 4,000-year-old ritual perfectly survives today. Go into churches or mosques all around the world right now, and you'll see the exact same thing.
Okay, buckle up for this next one. Section 3, the Scythian golden bongs. We are heading to Central Asia, right around 500 BC. I'm not kidding you. When historians were excavating the Scythians, who were this fierce nomadic warrior civilization, they unearthed something absolutely historically absurd. These guys took the ancient practice of smoking to a level of sheer extravagance that is just hard to wrap your head around. They literally crafted and used solid gold bongs.
Yes, solid gold. But again, we're not talking about a casual weekend hangout here. These spectacular artifacts were front and center in highly ritualistic ceremonies involving cannabis and various other herbs. The Scythians firmly believed that smoking these specific plants unlocked the higher state of mind. It was like a mental bridge, giving them a direct connection to their ancestors. And we really need to point out the social status aspect here too. These golden artifacts were definitely not for your everyday peasant. No way. This was the exclusive domain of terrifying elite warriors and ancient kings who were desperately seeking ancestral wisdom before a massive battle or making huge decisions. It was like a VIP pass to the spirit world.
Let's keep moving along. Section 4, the Sacred Peace Pipe, where we look at the indigenous tribes of North America. Over in North America, indigenous tribes smoked through something called the calumet, which you probably know as the peace pipe.
These were beautifully, intricately carved sacred objects. But the calumet wasn't just a basic tool for consuming herbs, not even close. It was meticulously passed down through generations. Sharing a smoke with the calumet was absolutely essential for diplomacy. It was how you formally sealed alliances between different groups, how you deeply honored the dead, and how you officially opened major ceremonies. In fact, the spiritual weight of the calumet was so incredibly immense that the physical pipe itself held way more value than the actual herbs being smoked inside it. The object itself held the real power.
And now we've reached the final leg of our explainer, the universal divine connection. Let's tie this entire 7,000-year journey together. Looking back at our global expedition, this really fascinating pattern starts to emerge. Just think about these completely isolated civilizations we just talked about. You've got the Andes, with their ancient stone pipes trying to signal the gods, Egypt and Babylon using incense as grand divine offerings, the Scythians going all out with solid gold bongs to mentally connect with their ancestors, and North America using the calumet to literally seal vital human alliances. So what does this tell us as historians? Well, it tells us that every single ancient civilization, regardless of the massive oceans and continents keeping them completely apart, found their own unique, profoundly deep reason to smoke. Whether it was for spiritual connection, talking to the divine, or essential social bonding, the human drive to use smoke to reach out beyond the physical world was practically universal.
Before we wrap up this explainer, I really want you to consider something. Think about how a deeply sacred, 7,000-year-old practice, something meant solely to speak to gods and ancestors, eventually morphed into the casual, highly commercialized habit of billions of people today. What does that actually say about how human culture evolves over time? And, what other sacred rituals might we be casually performing today without even realizing it? History is just packed with these incredible evolutions. If you found this historical deep dive interesting, please make sure to subscribe, because next time we are uncovering exactly what ancient Romans actually ate every single day. And trust me on this one, it's going to completely surprise you. See you then.